So, you want to build a bow fishing pontoon? Yeah, me too. Let's go. So this pontoon did not start out anything like this. I mean, we did have the side rails on it, except they came all the way up to the front and left about a 2.5 foot gap in the front as a platform. Well, when I bought this, floor was starting to rot. Tunes had leaks in it. It's been sitting for, I don't know, 3-4 years, a long time. So what I decided to do is, I love bow fishing. I have not had a bow fishing boat at all. Used others, always wanted my own. And I figured, you know what? Screw it, let's build a bow fishing pontoon. So this is what you see here. This is a 1983 Godfrey Conveyor Company from Elkhart, Indiana. They considered a 20 foot aqua patio. That's what it was. And I believe the only reason why they consider it 20 feet is because how much deck space you have. So just because I only have 20 feet of deck space, we got 24 foot long tunes. Anyways, what we did, you can't see it yet, but I'll show you. We extended the back platform by an extra 2 feet. So now, instead of the deck ending right here, I can now stand on the back right here. And this will allow me to access anything on the motor way easier if I need to. The other thing we've added is you can see this 100% custom bow fishing platform. Now it's not ready yet, but we're getting there. First thing we got to do next is build all my lights. So I got to go and do that, but that's a later day. I've also added this pit on the inside so I can have my barrels sit right here so I can get 4 guys up on deck, 1 in each corner basically. And then if I need, we can have a couple guys on the ends here for a cleanup. And then everything else on back is just generator, motor, gas tank, and what have you. Basically equipment and supplies back there. And I think it was probably the greatest thing I ever did on this pontoon is we've added truck bed toolboxes for storage and seating. They're relatively lightweight. These ones are used, so they're semi-waterproof, water resistant to an extent, but they work fantastic for what I need. And then we've also rebuilt the entire center console. This thing actually is pretty sweet. And I mean, perfect height to just stand and cruise and control the boat from here. Now, I don't have a trolling motor on this yet. That's going to be coming next year, I assume. I hope. That's my plan, is put a trolling motor up front. That way I can have some electronics back here. We're going to be able to set routes and program them when we get out on the lake. That way, if I go out with just 2 guys, nobody has to be at the motor or at the console. We can both be up on deck with the trolling motor running. We just do a loop all night long. I know we touched base about it before just a little bit, but probably one of my favorite things about this pontoon that I built is the toolbox seating and storage. Fantastic idea. I was like, you know, I had to come up with a way for people to sit on this thing without having chairs all over the place and something that I can store stuff in. And I thought, you know what? Weatherproof toolboxes. You know, they're pretty robust in my opinion. They're all aluminum. Flip open, I got access to everything I need. Eventually, I'll have all my electronics in here, like all my, probably run a couple more batteries eventually. I'd like to run a 24 volt system instead of 12. And then also I gotta have my inverter for my lights, which we'll take care of that later. But I mean, you can see just how smooth this is. Nice little cruising speed. It's not super loud. The other thing I did is when it rains, or if for some reason we got too much weight in the front and water starts coming up on the deck, I need that water to escape. Because that was the big issue last year, is I never had a way for water to escape. When I had these rails on, they were tied up against the carpet, and sometimes water would come on the deck and it would just sit there. It really wouldn't get off at all until I got the pontoon up on the trailer and drained it all off. So having it set up like this, much better. Everything has a spacer under it. That way, if water does get under here, it doesn't soak into it, doesn't stay there, it just escapes. So the only original things from this pontoon I guess you can say the rails are still original in the back here. Motor's original. Console, that's been completely remade. I've also, this is still original. And my steering wheel. Good old thing says Aqua Patio on it. But I wish it was a little brighter out. Was a little bit earlier, but sounds like we're supposed to get a little bit of rain here in a little bit. So we'll see. But we're just out here going for a nice little cruise, seeing if there's anything out here. One of these days I'm gonna get a scouting rig so I'll set up so I don't have to take out the big rig every time I want to go try and find fish, because if I'm going by myself, this thing's kind of a hog and a half to move around. But it's turnkey, ready to go. I mean, I still got to get lights on it and whatnot and do a couple more things here and there, but this thing is relatively smooth except for the 10 pounds of weeds I'm freaking dragging. So I'll have to take care of that. You guys can see we've extended this platform back a little bit. So now I can come back here. Before, I'd actually have to stand on the tune and kind of straddle it and stand on the transom a little bit, and that was just not fun. So we ended up going this route, and now I can just do it right here. And that's a lot of weeds. So I know this is a big rig, and it is kind of fun to sit and maneuver. Sometimes it's almost to the point where it's like too big. But then again, I'm thinking about, you know, you see those big bow fishing boats out on big lakes, you know, they're talking 2072, 2082 or whatever they are, 20 feet long, 84 inches wide. Those things are massive. Totally love to have a rig like that, but not anytime soon. So we're gonna stick with this one for a while. Another key feature that I do want to change on this is, instead of these flimsy side rails, which are bolted into the main frame, we're going to swap it out with a fixed bimini top. It's going to be about 6.5 feet up, so anybody that's tall can walk straight under it. It's going to come out right to about here. That way, this is my open space. When you climb up on deck, you don't accidentally smoke your head on it. And then from there, we're also going to have interior lights shining down, and I'm going to go with red lights. The only reason for that is I see a lot of people have green lights, a lot of people have blue lights, a lot of people have red, green, blue, any color of the world you want lights. But I did some reading, and they say that red lights are the best to use because it takes less time for your eyes to adjust to the light at night. So when you're out nighttime bow fishing, obviously you don't want your eyes to take longer than they should to adjust. So that's why I'm going with red. And that will take care of all my lighting back here. Up there, it's just going to be strictly bow fishing lights. It's going to be nothing else. Right where you're sitting right now, I'm going to have 2 barrels. I know I explained that before, but it's going to be a great spot to dump fish when we're fishing. And then we don't have to worry about them just flopping all over the deck like some boats are, which isn't the end of the world either if I got to throw some on deck. The other thing I'm going to change is a little bit on the console. We're going to be adding a couple speakers on here because it's nice to have music when you're out fishing. That's the one thing I do enjoy, is listening to music while I'm out fishing late at night. And by golly gee, I'm gonna put a set of speakers on here. So I'll have that all built in. I'll have all my switches. I'm not quite sure where I'm gonna mount them yet. I may mount them on the front here, maybe right on the bottom or something, but I gotta keep them somewhat out of the weather. And once I get that fixed bimini top on, it's gonna be great. Everything's gonna be pretty much out of the weather. I'm still gonna tarp this just because this is where all my controls are. I don't need those getting wet more than they should. Everything else I really don't care about. This is the bow fishing rig. So the other thing is, you guys notice it's completely camoed out. This is all hand painted. I guess you can say it's hand painted with an air gun, but it's all, none of this is a wrap, and none of it is, I didn't bring this to somebody and do it. I did this all myself with a little bit of help from my brothers. So thanks to them. Otherwise this wouldn't have been possible. But what I did is I ordered all the paint from Hunter Specialties, just online. Go to their website, check them out. Another great company that I heard of when painting a duck boat is Parker Brothers Duck Boat Coatings. They're, as far as I know, very reputable too. When I was asking questions, people recommended that one a lot, but I ended up going with Hunter Specialties just because I painted my brother's boat with that probably 8 years ago now, and that worked fantastic. I mean, it's been used and abused a lot, especially in cold weather, and we've had no issues with that paint. So it's actually cheaper to order it from their website than it is really from any other retailer, from what I found. But it's 4 coats, 4 colors, I should say, not coats. You got a green base, then you start off with the black. It's kind of like a tiger print is what it looks like once you stencil it on there. Then you do the tan overlay, and then you do the brown to mix it up a little bit and blend in. So that's what I did here. You guys saw that the deck isn't covered yet or painted yet. I'm getting there eventually, just not right now. I'll end up painting that when I do the whole bimini top and whatever. So I still got a lot of work to do on this, but for right now it is completely operational and ready to go. So with that being said, I got quite a bit more work to do. I'll get on that as soon as possible. But if you guys want to see more like this, more of this pontoon, more content like this, drop a comment, like and subscribe, and just remember, this is Northern Edge Outdoors.